Well, they matter for a few reasons. To great powers like the United States, the alignment of every individual developing country might not matter, but collectively the way they align themselves in security affairs has a big impact on the global security order. Regionally, they matter even more, obviously, in places like the Persian Gulf or in places like Southeast Asia, where there are large numbers of developing countries in close proximity. The way they choose to align with or against particular great powers obviously shapes that security environment. And then locally, of course, it matters for the developing countries themselves, because the choices that they make about their relations with a big power protector are likely to affect not only their security, but also sometimes their economies and their path of development, in some cases their political orientation or the ideologies they adopt, and overall their ability to cope with what is often, for developing countries, a pretty turbulent international environment. Well, when developing countries are thinking about who to align with, they're thinking about the same type of things that ordinary people consider when they want to form a relationship, personal or business, every day. They're thinking about the risks of the relationship and the rewards. And so, if I'm a great power and I want to attract developing country allies, it's in my interest to try to appear as high reward and as low risk as possible. Now, of course, I've got my own interest to protect, so I don't want to go around writing blank checks, but a happy medium is usually for a great power who's interested in courting allies to provide a reasonable measure of security and other benefits, and also to engage in some political give and take. Developing countries don't want to be stooges or puppets or lackeys. They're looking for a partnership that has the same types of features that we would look for in any human or business relationship. I try to differentiate it along a number of different axes because, of course, there's no exact formula. One determinant is whether the alliance is formalized or not. So certain types of alliances are written down in treaties like NATO or the US-Japan Security Treaty, and those require one partner to come to the other partner's defense. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the only type of alliance that would be a strong or a tight alliance. Sometimes you've got strong alliances that are informal, like the U.S. relationship with Israel. We don't have a treaty with the Israelis, but nobody doubts that the United States and Israel support each other in important ways. So beyond just looking at the form of an alliance, I also try to look at the substance of it, and I consider things like whether it includes basing privileges or just temporary rites of passage for vessels or for troops. Does it include robust institutionalization, or does it just have a series of meetings that occur every year? Does it include explicit or very clear implicit pledges of mutual support, or are those things left open to future negotiation? And so I've got a list of those kind of criteria, and I try to weigh the sum of those factors in any individual case to determine whether an alliance is at the strong or the weak end of the spectrum. There are mainly two reasons. The first reason is that Southeast Asia is convenient from a research perspective, because the book is not just advancing an argument about Asia or Southeast Asia, it's advancing an argument about the developing world writ large. And Southeast Asia is extraordinarily diverse. It's got rich countries, it's got poor countries, large, small, predominantly Buddhist, predominantly Catholic or Muslim, countries that are land-based or maritime. And so the diversity of those countries makes it a more robust test for my arguments. If an argument is true across 10 countries of such diversity, then it likely has some general application as well. And the second reason I chose Southeast Asia is that it's an important region that is strategically, in some sense, up for grabs. It's not a region that has been a natural area of hegemony for any particular great power in modern history. And as China and India rise into prominence on the world stage, it's going to be one of the first regions where we see how it is that developing countries handle realignments in the present as well as they've done in the past. So both for its importance and for its sort of research utility, those are the reasons I've chosen Southeast Asia.